welcome to the channel Analytics and Beyond. Today we are going to discuss on computer network models, and the topics are we are going to cover the introduction, TCP IP protocol suite, the complete 7 layers that comes under TCP IP. All those things we are going to discuss today. So first let us understand what is a protocol. So as you know, general meaning of protocol is the rules and regulations that you have to follow. In the same way, while transferring the data from one system to another, we need to follow a certain format. It may be a timing, sequencing, or syntax. So that we call it as a protocol. In simple words, we can tell that after transferring any data, the protocol should ensure that whether the data has been transferred or received correctly from one device to another, regardless of whatever the hardware or the software that we are going to use. So this shows how actually the protocol works. For that we have a certain type of protocol like OSI or TCP IP. So two protocols we are following. OSI is an open system interconnection and TCP IP is a transmission control protocol. So if you want to go further, let us understand with this video. See how TCP work. So one act as a sender, one act as a receiver. So after sending the information, the receiver should receive the information from the cloud. So that is how it accesses the information. So how it does, let us see. So in OSI reference model, as I said, it is an interconnection, a reference model that describes how information has to be transferred from one system to another. It may be through physical medium to the software application, another system. So one system to another system, it gets transferred. In order to transfer such huge amount of data, we have to divide the information into different fragments. So here we have divided that into 7 fragments. So when was the OSI model developed? So it was developed in the year 1984, and it is now considered as an architectural model for all sorts of interconnections in the computer. So as I said, it is divided into 7 smaller manageable tasks so that we can manage the task easily. So each layer has some assigned tasks. So we'll understand this like this. So if you have any model, it has TCP IP. So first it contains number of protocols, as we said, and those comes under this format, application layer. So it sends an information. First it receives, then it transfers to this from sender to the receiver. So these are the packets that it follows from sender to the receiver. So as soon the information moves from application to data link, it is the Ethernet frame. Network, it is an IP packets. And if it is a transport layer, we have a TCP segment. And if it is in the application layer or UDP datagram, if information is in the application layer, it is called as an application message. So this is how the data transferred from the sender to the receiver. The sender has sent the information. Now receiver will receive in the reverse format. So that is the thing that is going to happen here in the TCP IP. Whatever we have seen in the video, same thing. Different layers are there, like application layer. You can see application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and physical layer. So while sending when sender sends the information, it has to be received by the receiver, and each information adds its own header. You can see the header, data has been collected. Along with the data, one header is attached. Here data we have collected, session header. Along with the presentation layer header, session layer get attached. Along with other headers, keeps on attaching and sending. So when the receiver receives, detachment happens. That also I'll show you, just to make sure that information has reached securely. So this is how it reaches, as I said, as the data transfers from one sender to the receiver. So it reaches like that in the reverse format. From application layer, data get transferred, travels to the network, and it receives. So when sender sends the information, packets, after receiving, they'll collect the acknowledgement. So sender will ask whether have you received the packet, then the receiver has to acknowledge whether it is been sent. So OSI reference model is an internet open source model. TCP IP will check whether the information has been transferred. Acknowledgement it will take, whereas OSI is not so much reliable. So we'll go for TCP IP model. So this is an application layer, like as I said, the first layer, here you can see first layer is an application layer where I send information, that is a starting stage. So what is an application layer? It is a window for users and application. As we open a window, we'll type something and then we will click on send. So what happens during this when I send an information? So this is what it is going to happen. Application layers, when it sends the information to the next layer, receives the information and it keeps on adding the header until the receiver receives this. Okay, so that is how it is done using a protocol called as a file transfer protocol. So using file transfer protocol, the information transfers from one system to another. The presentation layer. Here presentation layer is mainly concerned with the syntax and semantics. Syntax means how a data has to be received, how it has to be sent. So during this you can see here, so when the data has been sent, it attaches the header and the frame. So same header and same frame reaches the receiver. On receiving the message on the network, it sends an acknowledgement. So it is the part of an operating system because it comes inbuilt within the system. So if the data or the system contains different kinds of operating system, then how it has to be managed and it has to be sent. So that is done by the presentation layer. Now what are the functions of presentation layer? So translation from one system to another system. As I said, coding, encoding, decoding happens, converts the data from sender to the receiver. Then encryption has to be done because it is already, the data has been encrypted. Again, compression of data will be done and then it will be decrypted, whether it may be a text, audio or video. So next is the session layer. So this is the third layer in OSI model and it is used to establish and maintain interaction between the two systems. Physical layer sends the data, then presentation layer, it just checks whether the data has been reached properly or not. Third layer is session layer, which just tells that whether the layers has been established connection and both the people can interact with each other. So that we call it as a dialogue control as well as the synchronization. So how it works, session layer first, it tries to establish the connections between one system. Once the connection has been established properly, like how we manage the things, so then it starts sending the information through API, that is application programming interfaces, that we call it as NetBIOS, that is network basic input and output system. Through that it establishes the connection, so it can be in terms of full duplex, half duplex also. So as the data has been transferred, it tries to take an authentication. When the authentication is given, like how we will give, by collecting the username and the password. So once that authentication is right, then it transfers the data and receives the acknowledgement. So that is the work of the session layer, taking the authentication as well as the authorizations. So now suppose if you want to send, you are not an authorized person, some people have sent, then if authentication and authorization is not done, then data will not be transferred. So it just keeps the eye on the information or the message that you are going to transfer. For example, if you are going to transfer a text or image, so text or image will be maintained in the separate files inside the system. So from Facebook I am sending some text or information, you can download it, and helps you to download the information whatever you have asked, whether it may be text or images, gets downloaded, and this we call it as a data packets. So it ensures that text and images has been received properly using the data packets. So then it acknowledges whoever has sent that it has been transferred properly. So what are the functions? Session management, authentication as well as authorizations. All this will be done by the session layer. So these are the three things that we have known. So next we have transport layer. So transport is a fourth layer which helps you to transfer the messages in one particular order. For example, my message is very huge and I have numbered it to 1, 2, 3, 4, and it should reach in the same order. If it reaches 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, then it's of no use. So this layer helps in maintaining whether the information has been reached like in the same format that we have sent. For that it uses transmission control protocol. So here you can see as the information is transferred, so how it works. So if it is a different kinds of operating systems, it just tries to divide the data and work. So for that we use one more protocol called as a user datagram protocol in the transport layer. So just it will be unreliable in case if the receiver does not send any acknowledgement, and we cannot wait for that cases also. Therefore this protocol makes sometimes unreliable. So what are the functions of transport layer? Service point addressing, segmentation, connection control, flow and error control. So how the data has been transferred, what is the flow of the data, then error has to be controlled. So but sometimes it may make it unreliable, but still this layer helps in error control. So next comes the network layer. So what network layer will do? It is responsible for routing and forwarding the packets from all the layers. So previously we have seen 7 layers. From 7 layers it is helpful for carrying the packets forward within the network. And also it is used to manage the network traffic. For example, if you have 2 or 3 sends at the same time, so it manages the traffic. So this is how it works. So just manages. So data link layer is responsible for error-free transfer of data frames in the same specified format. It provides a reliable and efficient communication between 2 devices, and it also helpful in responsible for unique identification of each device that is there in the network. So it also contains 2 sub-layers we will discuss in the upcoming videos because it is a huge concept. So what is the functions of data link layer? Framing, physical addressing, flow error and access control. So next comes the physical layer. That is the last layer in the OSI reference model. So it is the lowest layer. So it is the lowest layer in the network. It specifies a procedural network interface functions. So just it configures the system, how the system has to be connected. As the name itself indicates, physical means establishes the connection. It may be whether physical or logical connection. It may be through an internet or through a network. So how this physical layer works? So this helps you to understand how it works. So in this physical layer, if sender sends the information, the receiver has to receive the information through one. So it will be encrypted, as the information will be encrypted like this 001110. Same information has to be reached at the receiver. So the signal may be electrical or copper cable or a LAN cable or through a light, or we call it as an optical fiber. If we use the radio waves, we call it as a air or vacuum for connecting this data. So which physical layer? We have a protocol. So that with using the Ethernet protocol, or you can use the cable. Like twisted or coaxial cable, fiber optical cable. So apart from these three things, fiber optics will be very fast when compared to twisted or other kind of coaxial cables. So these are the physical layers of protocol. You can also go through this data link layer. So how the data link layer? So it converts the link into Ethernet. That means a frame, each message. So we use a protocol called medium access control or logical link control. Through that again information can be transferred from one system to another. So when it is transferred, encapsulation will happen. Physical layer. So physical layer has the following functions like line configuration, how many devices has to be connected, how it has to be connected, how the data has to be transferred. So that we call it as a topology, like how the data has to be connected, how it has to be transferred, whether it is full duplex, half or simplex. Simplex means one-way communication, half duplex, both sender and receiver can communicate but not at the same time. Full duplex means both sender and receiver can communicate at the same time. So these are the functions of physical layer. Okay. Thanks for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe.